I think we can continue on with another example of how to draw a function, but also how to find the domain and range. And now this time we will include a minus sign. So we will go -2 the square root of, let's go x plus 2. And we will add a +7 to make things interesting. So as in the previous two videos, we notice that the first number that we want to plug in is going to be x equals -2. It is shifted towards the left by 2 steps. So let's evaluate the first point. So let's plug in -2. We copy our minus to our multiplier, -2 from here. I will plug in -2 plus 2 and +7. This becomes essentially always 0 if you do it correctly. This becomes the square root of 0, which is 0. And what you're left with is essentially, well, 2 times 0 is 0 plus 7. And what you're left with is this number 7. So we need one more point. This time I'll only include one more point that is a little bit more distant. Let's add a point that is further away and that we have a nice square root, which is the point number, I will plug in the number 7. 7 because 7 plus 2 is 9. So why did I choose 7? Just to clarify, we have x plus 2, and I would like a nice square root. So I want to get from here 9. And what number do you need to plug in? You need to plug in 7 in order to get 9. All right. But if I may, I will just delete this. All right. So let's continue. So plugging number 7, the square root of 7 plus 2 plus 7. I will simply copy. This is why we get a nice number, plus 7. This is -2 times 3 plus 7, which is, so I'm going step by step, this is -6 plus 7, and this is 1. Let's get a nice green color to label our results. So, and I'm not going to use the table. I'm just going to write down the coordinates. So the first point that we have on the graph is -2 and 7. And the second point that we have is that when we plugged in 7, we have a 1. And notice is that the function is decreasing. So it jumped from 7 to a 1 because of the minus sign. Is decreasing because there's a minus. I think it's very logical. All right, so we have these 2 points. Let's draw a coordinate system, and let's think what kind of coordinate system we need. Do we need negative y's? No, not exactly. So let's go here. Let's go here. Notice is that I intentionally made the right side longer. So 1, 2 is -2. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll add an 8. So here's 7. I need a -2. Pardon me. I need a 7 on the y-axis. So in fact, I think I made it too short. Sorry about that. I'll just extend it. So here is 7, and I need a 1 right here. So let's draw the 2 points, which I will do using nice green dots. So the first point is located here. So this coordinates are for these points. So it's -2 and 7. And the second point is located at 1 and 7. So right here. Now, again, the question is, well, how do we connect these dots? And essentially, it is the reverse. So when we had a positive square root of x function, we were drawing it as such, as something like this. Yeah, so where this is x, this is y. However, when we change the symbol, let me choose a different color. When we add a minus sign, it is essentially does the mirror image. So it goes negative. Anything positive becomes negative. So it will look something like this. Yeah, so this would be, so what happens, all we have to know is that the beginning has to be vertical, and then it slowly goes, essentially, it decreases slower and slower and slower. So the two rules is that the beginning must be vertical. The very, very beginning is that we have a vertical line and that it slowly wants to become horizontal as you reach essentially towards infinity. Yeah, it slowly wants to become horizontal. So becomes horizontal only when it's at infinity. So that's a very, very, very long way. So let's try to draw this function right here, and I'll make it using a blue line. So the beginning, it is rather vertical, and then we're really trying to get to that point, and it would slowly and slowly decrease. All right. Now, you notice is that let's determine the domain and the range of this function. So the domain focuses on what x values the function can be expressed in. And as we can see that it goes from -2 all the way. Now careful, don't put 7. 7 would be a mistake. It goes all the way to infinity. Yeah, so we can essentially, we cannot plug in any numbers that are here because, well, you'd get a negative square root. And the range of this function focuses on the y. So also, you will never ever get a number that, all right, let me think about this. Let me think about this just for a very quick moment. The range, the function cannot become larger than 7. So the range, it can go all the way from -infinity, because if you would plug in, for example, for x 1,000,000, it would be really negative. However, it cannot get larger than infinity, than 7, pardon me. So this would be the range. You cannot get above this point. Yeah, so but if you would plug in, for example, 1,000, yeah, so all the way to the right, if we would just plug in 1,000, that would mean, well, there's the square root of I think it's 1,002 plus 7. It just becomes more and more negative. Yeah, this would be some kind of number, for example, -100. Yeah, and it will go all the way down and down and down.